So I'm live on YouTube, and I don't have any followers, so that helps me with just relaxing and sharing anything that's on my mind without any pressure to impress or to um, succumb to, I should say, summon acceptability, like, acception by people, because we can all be very I think, hesitant to speak what's on our mind unless we have a part of a group that will accept us, which is basically what the Democratic Party is right now. Is and what they're trying, and they're actually condoning it. They're the leaders in making everybody into a follower, which is very different because um, I was thinking today, and I don't know how everything that's I think jumbled in my head is going to mumble together. So I'm a happy Indian. And I'm also a good leader, but I'm a happy Indian, especially if I'm working for a part of a group, a part of a team. This is my part. This is what I have to do, and everybody's happy. So we humble and jumble, and then we all come together and make one cohesive oneness of everything. So that's it can happen. You have to think about being a follower and being a leader, and to what extent you have to allow that. So for me, obviously, is when I was bringing up my kids, it became about setting boundaries. That's something that I don't think that young people, the young the young people that Kamala Harris would like to take under her wing, like as like a mama hen. Like, you're not mama hen. I don't need to be in. I don't need your big ass like sitting on top of my head or anything like that, or nobody's for that matter. Um, but that's kind of like probably the same. As we're young, we don't know what we're doing, but we're still going to get there, and we're going to get there on our own time, and we just need people to let us be, and we need to let people to just let us be individualistic. And anybody who strives to make an effort, even to uh grow, to be a visionary. And let me tell you something about vision. The number one thing the number one aspect of successful individuals is that they do have vision. They have vision, and they can picture themselves in a certain role or another, and that takes practice. They probably didn't grow. Some were probably born with it, and then we can call them narcissists. And then there's some that maybe want to compensate. So I was a narcissist. So still, I want to create more out of it, bring and anybody else along, and become this entrepreneurial enterprise where there's people that are going to be under me and that are going to grow into a greater role depending on their own effort. So this is all important. um, I, I don't think that what's going on right now, and I totally lost track of what I was going to say, because I think that was, and it's probably a good thing, because I am entirely up to on a whim here. I'm on a whim, and that's actually a good thing. That's what I want to practice. I want to practice being a little bit more on the spot. This is what I like, what I don't like, and refine my attitudes, and perform better and be a better contributor. People want to contribute. People just need to have that availability to contribute. Of course, when people that are in power of others, like the Bidens and Kamala, I mean, Kamala doesn't necessarily come from like a powerful family. I think that like the Freudian slip from from Joe Biden was that he was kind of like remorseful that Barack Obama, a dark colored person, I don't know his descent. It doesn't matter to me. I don't care. It's what's inside, baby. It's the character that counts. Okay, so he was remorseful because he'd spent like ages, right? He was like decrepit. And you know what I hate about Obama is I was thinking like, why did he pick Joe? Like Joe was like it just opened up all like the doors like for him and like all of Hunter Biden's crackhead dealers and dealerships to feel powerful over honest people that have worked a decent life. It's not cool, man. It's not cool. So I have prostitutes that like wanted to make me feel like I wasn't cool because like, oh man, like because they're trying to make me be them. They're trying to make me be somebody that sells myself out, or actually not even my soul at this point. They think they have their soul preserved because at some in the Bible it says that prostitutes were okay with Jesus. This is the funny thing about prostitutes, right? They think their soul is preserved. They think that they're just using their body. So, oh, it's not like, no, you can't use your body to do anything that dishonors God. And the soul is something, while it could be something separate, it definitely doesn't apply to a situation where you're just taking advantage of that of that view, like that point of view. It's just not. It's it's wrong. They know it. You know who you are out there. So, uh, so the Nancy Pelosi rule today is very predict. Leave it to Nancy. Leave it to Nancy. Nancy, seriously, I don't know where you're going with this, but you're getting crazier every day. And it's like it would break my heart. You're from California. I'm from California, right? So I would definitely consider taking an honorable step here and just saying, you know what? The Republicans are probably right about what's been happening these last 5 years. They have stood on the side of our democratic process, even when Donald Trump was voted, in spite of other Republicans that were running at the time. To name a few, well, there's the the guy from Texas. So I'm not okay. So I don't usually speak at all. I usually just do math. I do accounting. So I'm like, my head is still like plugging in numbers. But Cruz. There was Cruz, Rubio. Um, okay, so they graciously accepted that Trump had won. And guess what else? I used to frequent bars back in 2000. I frequent bars now. Well, I frequented bars up to uh, the time that I couldn't, because then there was COVID. And either way, when So I met people from different backgrounds all the time. I don't have a social group. I don't stick to in any belief. But when I met people, but I'll tell you this about me. I do want to expand my world in a way that is more natural. So to me, it's just been like breaking away from whatever it is. Like I was structured to do. I like structure. Don't get me wrong. I just want to see diversity at play. I was taught diversity. There was a lot of things that I learned that are amazing from my upbringing. Um, I wish people that I wish I wasn't related to certain people that just want to like traffic me, like they want to treat me like I'm somebody like they can sell to other people because then they have to end up and they do. And so that is kind of where I come from in this whole thing. So I really do wish that Nancy had just said, oh, I do believe that we were the ones that actually were first to dishonor our democratic process when we rejected Trump as a president. This here, this is not a comeback. It's not a comeback like, ooh, no, 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 no. You're living in ignorance and you want to be, and you think it's like, da da da, but it's not. It hurts other people. If not now, later. You're in a privileged position and you gambled that way. You're not a straight and narrow person, Nancy. You gambled, and now if you don't walk away, is you lose everything. If you walk away, you can still take something with you. That is my view. That is the truth. There's nothing in this world that is more important than bringing God's kingdom to earth, right? So if you see me acting and behaving differently inside, it's probably because of the whole conditioning and programming. But here is what I think. I really do think that there's a serious problem. There's a serious problem at the governmental level, not even federal. I'm talking state, city. I can't even mention my own mayor's name because he's basically the epitome. He's the perfect description of what a democratic elitist might be. That's who he is. That's who he's going to become. This is what people might worship, and this is what people might worship in a world where everybody is treated equally based on merit. If my merit can carry me through to so much more, then it is my job to contribute to the rest. The problem is that with elitist, a lot of the crowd is predetermined. So they're determined to be a part of whatever deep state is going to be in power to the detriment of the rest of us. So that is kind of where my kids are not corrupted, thank God. I mean, I don't know why my daughter has 2 tattoos now. Oh well, I don't have any tattoos. I didn't teach her that. I'm not going to blame anybody for it. It's her responsibility. I'm pretty sure she doesn't care to have them. I mean, she obviously has like photos of her and anything like that. At the same time, it's not what I have to say about what's actually going to happen. It's up to everybody else, and for my daughter and everybody else to actually accept and repent to their own wrongs, because they were wrong. You could be wrong, and that's okay. God would embrace a repentance and it's not a start over. It's like he's no, God is going to accept you with all of your mistakes, and then he's going to carry you on onto your next phase, and only God knows what that is. And nobody in this world is entitled to dictate to anybody who they are and who they should be. There should be no such thing as puppeteering or voodoo or anything like that. People are I could be a bum if I want to. Okay. I choose not to. Why do people want to make me be somebody less? Well, it's all somebody else's agenda to overpower over. So crackheads are going to overpower. I'm sorry, Joe, but I've said it and I'll say it again. You raised a crackhead. I tried my very best not to raise a crackhead. I tried my very best because I saw with my own eyes as a child that that was frowned upon. Okay. And I also don't care about money. Money's fine to if it reflects a service, something that I want to do because I like to do it. That's what matters. That's what's important. That's what people in this world need. They need somebody that makes them feel that they're just as good, and that they pick leaders, that they're leaders because they don't take on the weight of others. They don't give more weight to others, but they share in the weight. Leaders have to want to be more than when Democrats have been in power, like with Obama and now with Biden. I really do feel like this weight that makes me crazy. Like seriously, it's a good thing I'm not because it makes people crazy. You're putting too much weight on people that you've told they can depend on a leader. And all these leaders are doing is watching out for themselves. They're watching out for themselves. They're watching out for their own bills to pay, um, their own paranoia. I mean, talk about paranoid. So I just really want. I know I started out in one direction and headed in another. And anyhow, I have been reading the Bible every morning, except that. So I decided let's just do some Bible lottery. Landon and Timothy. I do like Timothy. I do like Timothy. Okay. So chapter 1, this is verse, this is 2 Timothy, and it's going to be chapter 1, verse 3. I am grateful to God, whom I worship with a clear conscience as my ancestors did, as I remember you constantly in my prayers night and day. I yearn to see you again, recalling your tears, so that I may be filled with joy. As I recall your sincere faith, as I recall your sincere faith that first lived in your grandmother Lois and in your mother Eunice, and that I am confident lives also in you. Okay. Not exactly the Timothy verse I was expecting, I wanted to read, but this is his historical Bible is, I should say that the Bible is a historical reading. so that when you read it, you have to sort of, if you're the type of person, if you are inclined to think that people are moving in a progressive direction at all times, because I also entertain the idea that it's possible that humans are really just always at a standstill, sort of very cyclical. In a generation, you are going to, it doesn't really speak too much to the sort of evolutionary development, and like as far as biogenics, and hey, don't mean to offend anybody, but God's plan. Oh, believe me, I take full responsibility for my actions. I don't, God or Satan, or I've taken my side. God is my side and Satan's the left. And and you know what? Satan wanted, like, it was here. Okay, so like you have um some obnoxious guest at your house, and he puts everybody against you to like want to come and like tear it down, right? And the host is like, oh, well, I'm not gonna confront this piece of crap. I'm gonna leave it up to my guests to decide who they want to side parts with. So Satan leaves off with this group of people that just came to your home and caused havoc and mayhem, and they just, etc. So now God is thinking, well, why should I allow you back in my home unless you choose to be a part of my home, right? So it's very simple. People are the only creatures that God has created in his own image. So, and it's the same thing. You just have to think like God would think like, but it's difficult. But you have to. It's difficult because Satan that pulled you away is promising you crack and cash, right? Cash. Okay. So, yeah. No, thank you. This is all grapes, baby. It's all grapes, all organic, nothing weird. I should get my liver checked out though. So, either way, I don't, there's a lot that I have to say throughout the entire day that when I actually have to like present anything, it's not necessarily going to come out the same way, but I hope that I've given any listeners out there um, my true, genuine self. And what I want and expect from everybody is also remember, is Jesus said, those that reject you are not important. It's if God accepts you and if you're good with God, because people that hurt you and that they want you to own you and to be and to make you be somebody less than yourself and what God intended for you are not going to be allowed in heaven. Those are the bad people. That's evil. That's evil. So this is not this is not a consolation to people that are in prison now over the January 6th thing, where God, it's like it's such a it reminds me of using corporal punishment. um I went to court for that. I admitted it. my son knows that I have a problem. Like I had a problem. Obviously, like I felt like no, if I let them like cross this boundary, then they're just gonna step all over me. And it was something like that. So it's ugly. It can get really ugly. So I always admitted it, even to my son. I mean, I used to like always, but I'm really sorry. I just wanted you to do this. And I was so afraid that my son would become like a crackhead or a crack dealer and not like, like a lawyer or a doctor or something. If I just let him step all over me. Now it turns out I know that mothers that did get stepped over have the, sons that are the doctors and engineers whom are fucking up everybody's life, right? With Boeing engineers or like Fauci. It's like, oh my God, sorry, dude. I apologized. And that was only 1% of the time that I really had to lose it. Hey, you know what? My son has some guilt in it too. He just wanted it. Like he wanted negative attention, and that's fine. And we can go into this whole discussion sometimes too. So I am very on top of my psychology in working with children. Okay. So everybody at Capitol Hill, you hear that? And you can be a big ol' right, whatever you are, I don't care. I am protected by the strongest power of all. You can't hurt me.